Welcome back to the channel, Legendary Legacy, audiobook free daily, where you can enjoy the best books without spending a penny. Today, we will continue with the book, Thick Face, Black Heart by author Chin-Ning Chu. This is a book that teaches you how to apply the ancient wisdom of Asian philosophy and strategy to achieve success in business and life. We will proceed with Episode 9, 16 Noble Attributes of Work. You can listen to recap audiobooks published on the channel on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and other podcast platforms. You can search for our channel by typing Legendary Legacy, audiobook free daily into the search bar. Please support our channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing so that we have more motivation to produce more audiobook episodes with the best and latest quality. Please support our channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing so that we have more motivation to produce more audiobook episodes with the best and latest quality. Thank you for listening and have a nice day. Through the expression of work, we earn our monetary rewards. This book would not be complete without mentioning work. We predominantly utilize thick face, black heart either with others or with ourselves during the period when we are performing our duties at work. 1. Work, the fondest human expression. Work is a primary method used to express ourselves in fulfilling our obligation to support ourselves. Through work, we contribute to the collective good of society and the evolution of man. Work is an essential part of our self-expression and self-preservation. Only through work can the idea and the spirit of thick face, black heart take on a visible form. 2. Provide for yourself and others. As a young man passed through a forest, he saw a lion taking a piece of meat to an injured tiger. The young man thought to himself, God is good, he provides for all his creatures. Just look at that tiger, God also takes care of him. As I am the child of God, for certain, God will provide for me. The young man went back to his small hut at the edge of the forest. He stopped hunting and waited for God to provide for him. A week passed and nothing happened, so he went hungry. 2 weeks, then 3 weeks passed, and still nothing. Soon he was dying of starvation. A holy man passed by his hut and asked him what had happened. With the little strength he had left in his body, he told his story. The holy man said, when you saw the two animals, you should have learned from the lion and not the tiger. The lion provides for himself and also provides for others. I salute all the world's entrepreneurs, because they risk everything in their pursuits. Additionally, they are able to provide for themselves while creating jobs for others. 3. Work as spiritual unfoldment. There is no division between your daily work and your spiritual unfoldment. Every situation will accelerate your spiritual evolution. Your work is where your spiritual unfoldment takes place. Through work, we encounter people and events that mirror our spiritual state. Through work, people and events either irritate us or uplift us. Whether it be irritation or inspiration, the universal intention is to utilize that particular situation to teach us a beneficial lesson. Nothing in life happens by accident. If people and events in your life stir strong emotions, it signals the need to take a good look at yourself in that area. 4. Work, the greatest teacher. The purpose of labor is to learn. When you know it, the labor is over. The apple blossom exists to create fruit. When that comes, the petals fall. Kabir, a prophet. Each time I write a book, I learn much more about the subject than I initially dreamed there could possibly be to learn. For example, the concept of thick face, black heart has been in my mind for over 20 years. But as I describe thick face, black heart here, it has taken on a whole new dimension of clarity. It is no longer just a feeling in my heart. As I have laid it on paper and divided it into the different aspects of life, it has become tangible. Work is the greatest teacher. 5. Work does not need you, you need work. He must perform his duty, however difficult it may seem, for it frees him from the bondage of worldly life. If he carries out the duty given to him according to his nature, he overcomes the bondage of living. Lord Krishna, Bhagavad Gita. God created this universe for us. The universe does not need us, but we need the universe. Similarly, the work we do does not need us, but we need the work. If any one of us disappears from this planet, the planet will continue to exist. If our planet disappears from this galaxy, the galaxy will continue to exist. If our galaxy disappears from the universe also will continue to exist. In 1990, a galaxy over 1 billion light-years from Earth was discovered. Anything that is 1 billion light-years away is beyond my comprehension. It really puts our self-importance into a proper perspective. Not long ago, during my meditation, I heard my voice asking a question: does the world need a book on thick face, black heart? Another voice answered, the world does not need this book, or any other book. But you need to write it. The answer surprised me. I thought I was writing this book because the world needed it. In contemplating this wisdom, I have discovered how profoundly true it is. In fact, I couldn't help doing it. I was driven from within. All great works are produced because their creators are driven involuntarily. The necessity to create is such a great force that it overcomes all human reason. 6. Through work, destiny unfolds. Your work is to discover your work and then with all your heart give yourself to it. Lord Buddha. When you are true to your assigned work, your destiny will be true to you. If you currently are out of work, then make finding the appropriate work your full-time job. If you can't find work that suits you, it may be time for you to take the leap into the entrepreneurship that you always dreamed of. Before, you did not have the courage to quit your job and lose that regular paycheck. Often desperate situations provoke dramatic actions. 7. Life evolves through actions. If you know all the great knowledge, but you sit and do nothing, your knowledge will be worth nothing to yourself or others. Even a philosopher needs to talk about his beliefs or write them down so others can benefit from his profound wisdom. The universe is ever-changing and acts unceasingly. An individual is ever active, whether he is sleeping, eating, or just sitting. Even in the motionless, deep sleep state, his internal body is ever active, supporting his life. As infants, we work unceasingly to learn the wonders of our new world. As students, we work to acquire basic knowledge and skill from our studies. As adults, we work to support ourselves and others. As elders, we work to maintain the well-being of our physical bodies, and contemplate the life behind us and the path before us, contributing our experiences and time to those who need guidance. The bottom line is, as long as you possess a body, you cannot escape work. 8. Embrace the farmer's virtue. We gain freedom when we have paid the full price for our right to live. Rabindranath Tagore. Whenever work is mentioned, the idea of procrastination and inertia arise instantaneously. There are many motivational books and tapes on the market. The objective of these books is to move people from non-action to action, and eventually from action to effective action. I have done extensive consulting work in agriculture and during the years, have dealt with both American and Asian farmers. What American farmers have in common with the rest of the farmers of the world is their dedication to work. The time for planting and the time for harvesting does not wait. If you procrastinate and miss the planting season, you will have no crop for the whole year. If you miss the harvest season, you will have crops rotting in the field. If you miss the time for fertilizing the crops, you will have a poor harvest for the year. The farmer's rich harvest is dependent on his timely dedication to his work. He does not have to read motivational books to overcome his inertia. Farmers understand the meaning of, the dictionary is the only place where success comes before work. 9. The working secret of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. My faith in truth, my vision of the perfect, help thee, Master, in thy creation. Rabindranath Tagore. The greatest natural musical genius ever to live, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, described how he composed his music. When I am, as it were, completely myself, entirely alone, and of good cheer, say, traveling in a carriage, or walking after a good meal, or during the night when I cannot sleep, it is on such occasions that my ideas flow best and most abundantly. Whence and how they come, I know not, nor can I force them. Those ideas that please me I retain in memory, and am accustomed, as I have been told, to hum them to myself. If I continue in this way, it soon occurs to me how I may turn this or that morsel to account, so as to make a good dish of it, that is to say, agreeable to the rules of counterpoints, to the peculiarities of the various instruments, etc. All this fires my soul, and provided I am not disturbed, my subject enlarges itself, becomes methodized and defined, and the whole, though it be long, stands almost complete and finished in my mind so that I can survey it, like a fine picture or a beautiful statue, at a glance. Nor do I hear in my imagination the parts successively, but I hear them, as it were, all at once. What a delight this is I cannot tell. All this inventing, this producing, takes place in a pleasing lively dream. Still the actual hearing of the total ensemble is after all the best. What has been thus produced I do not easily forget, and this is perhaps the best gift I have my divine Maker to thank for. When I proceed to write down my ideas, I take out of the bag of my memory, if I may use that phrase, what has been previously collected into it in the way I have mentioned. For this reason the committing to paper is done quickly enough, for everything is, as I said before, already finished, and it rarely differs on paper from what it was in my imagination. At this occupation I can therefore suffer myself to be disturbed, for whatever may be going on around me, I write, and even talk, but only of fowls and geese, or of Gretel or Barbel or some such matters. But why my productions take from my hand that particular form and style that makes them Mozartish, and different from the works of other composers, is probably owing to the same cause which renders my nose so large or so aquiline, or, in short, makes it Mozart's, and different from those of other people. For I really do not study or aim at any originality. When we perform our work, we have to be silently in tune with our inner selves for guidance. Each person hears their inner silent voice differently. To some it comes naturally, others must cultivate that intuition through meditation and other spiritual practices. 10. Using intuition as a business tool. The definition of intuition according to the dictionary is as follows: 1. Direct perception of truths, facts, etc., independent of any reasoning process. 2. Pure, untaught, non-inferential knowledge. Intuition is a commodity that is extremely undervalued in the Western world, yet everyone who has ever succeeded in any extraordinary task has always drawn upon this power. A good trial attorney must be well versed in law and should research his case. However, he also needs to perceive intuitively the minds of his jury so that his presentation will sway them in favor of his client. I was told by a homicide detective that a good detective understands how to follow his instincts and gut feelings, whether he is seemingly on the right track or not. A good businessman, after examining his available data, ultimately will have to rely on his gut feelings to make the final decision. Many revolutionary scientific breakthroughs often begin with an intuitive perception of unknown potential by a scientist. He then proceeds to prove his intuition through scientific experimentation and conclusions. At age 16, Einstein asked, "If I moved at the speed of light, what would light look like?" This question was the seed for his theory of relativity, which he spent the rest of his life trying to explain to the world. One of the foundation blocks of organic chemistry, the benzene ring, was revealed in a dream. The originator, F.A. Kekulé, was trying to solve the puzzle of how carbon chains are connected. One night he had a profound dream in which he saw 6 snakes writhing, each biting another's tail. He immediately awoke and realized his subconscious had just given him the formation of the primary hexagon, a structure made up of carbon atoms that is the base of the benzene ring. A year ago, I went to the racetrack for the first time in my life with some friends. Since I do not understand a thing about the horse and the race, I decided to rely on my intuition. Fortunately, I was sitting very close to the front and had a plain view of the horses as they displayed themselves prior to the race. As each horse came up, I would tune in to that horse and sense the condition and the spirit of the horse at that moment. I was able repeatedly to place the top 3 horses in the order they came in. All of my friends couldn't believe their eyes. I have not been to the racetrack since. Maybe I didn't want to break my glorious betting record. To put it simply, a well-developed intuition is a valuable tool in the workplace. The source of this intuition is the same that provided inspiration for Mozart's compositions. 11. Work in the light of grace. Our Maker's grace, the condition of being in His favor, is like sunshine. It indiscriminately showers light on all. Those who stand under the sun immerse themselves in the warmth of the sun's rays and receive the full benefit from them. Those who hide under the tree deprive themselves of the sun. Through the power of His grace, the universe came to existence. Through the power of His grace, human beings are able to perform their daily duties and maintain their bodily functions. In this same way, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart learned how to listen to the music from his Maker. Such creativity is not through man's effort alone, but is a gift of your own soul, the divine grace. Each one of us possesses that grace within. Some of us are more in touch with it, while others are not. What made Mozart different was the ability to hear the music from nowhere. As Mozart said, he merely dictated it according to the principles of composition in his time. 12. Discover your natural rhythm. With our Creator's infinite imagination, the world never ceases to provide us with wonders. Each one of us is unique. What works for one does not necessarily work for others. For example, early to bed, early to rise, is an acceptable norm for proper living. It is wonderful for those who enjoy the tranquility of dawn to rise early, but for others the norm might be detrimental. As I mentioned earlier, Salvador Dali, Winston Churchill and Hugh Hefner all shunned a pattern of rising early each day and instead concentrated on working when they felt most comfortable. This section is specially written for those who find it difficult to follow the 9-to-5 schedule. If your natural working rhythm works best at night, try to find work that will allow you to do so. 13. Reach for your limitless limit. A timber fit for pillars should not be misused for chopsticks. Chinese maxim. If you are capable, then stop selling yourself short by limiting your imagination. By the same token, if you are assigned an easy task and it is beneath your ability, then you are wasting your talent and will perform poorly. In ancient China, a talented young man was assigned to govern a small, remote village because he had offended a powerful relative working in the royal court. After he arrived at his new post, all he did was drink and sleep. He ignored all work and let his tasks pile up. A year later the court sent an auditor, who upon arriving heard the villagers complain about how the young man had neglected his duties. The auditor found the young man drunk, as usual, and he questioned him about his disregard for duty. The young man replied, "Come back in 3 days, and everything will be done." 3 days later, the auditor returned to discover a well-groomed young man in an orderly office with all his assignments completed. The young man had finished a year's worth of work in only 3 days. The auditor later learned that the young man had been cast out to the remote village because he was a victim of a personal vendetta. When the auditor returned to court, he reported to the emperor that a valuable talent had been misused, at a great loss to the country. The young man was summoned to court and reassigned to a worthy and honorable post. 14. 3 P's of work. The 3 P's of work are not a secret to most. However, they deserve mention. Purpose. Purpose to work is like a flight chart to a pilot or a navigational map to a sea captain. You have to know where you are going and how to get there before you take off for your destination. Perseverance, I covered this to a great extent in the endurance chapter. Patience, nothing is possible without patience. Unfortunately, in this physical world, time and distance are two elements that we have to make room for. Nothing happens just by snapping your fingers. Even simple tasks like my trips to Asia needed patience, since I sat on the airplane more than 10 hours at a time. With patience, everything seems to glide along more smoothly. Without it, life seems more explosive and chaotic. 15. Work, the highest worship and highest sacrifice. If you perform the sacrifice of doing your duty, you do not have to do anything else. Devoted to duty, man attains perfection. Lord Krishna, Bhagavad Gita. When one's duty is performed with a sense of detachment, the very work performed becomes a sacrifice and therefore a worship to our Maker. What do I mean by detachment? Because we are made of flesh, it is necessary to receive a monetary reward to support our life. Being overly concerned with the reward will never enhance the outcome of our work but instead will interfere with our performance. When an archer's eye is on the prize rather than the bullseye, he surely will miss the bullseye as well as the prize. What do I mean by sacrifice? Sacrifice is an act of offer, offering our labor to the one who grants us the ability to act. We perform our work without the attachment to self-gratification. Just adopting this attitude, our efforts become a sacrifice to our Maker. Thus, the sacrifice serves as worship. Treating your work as sacrifice and worship will not lessen your compensation. Whatever reward we deserve will come to us. In fact, this attitude will transform the ordinary task to something sacred. It will enhance your performance and lead to greater compensation. 16. The harmony of divine will and human will. Every morning in my affirmation I read, being attuned to the divine will is the most important factor in attracting success. To discover through the right meditation how to be in harmony with the divine will is man's highest obligation. When human will is misguided, even success brings nothing but sorrow. A great being once said, human beings practice motivation blindly. They motivate themselves into action and often land at a place where they don't even belong. In today's industrious society, people are compelled to keep up with the pace of the rest of the world. They need to be motivated constantly to work harder, longer, and better. They buy the newest motivational tapes and books, and if that is not enough they even will buy subliminal tapes to give them that extra push. All these, blind motivations, are attempted in pursuit of success. There is nothing wrong with pursuing success. Whatever our life's objective might be, each one of us should reach out and try to touch the farthest star in our personal constellation. But when all our attention is placed upon motivation actions as the means to reach success, we are missing an important ingredient, the guidance of the divine will. Thus, we didn't enjoy what, in the beginning, appeared to be success and ultimately we were disappointed. I speak of this from first-hand experience. Years ago, I had a business that did very well for the first couple years. After that, everything somehow went wrong. Even ordinarily easy tasks turned out wrong unexpectedly. It looked like a cosmic conspiracy against my business. But I thought my determination could overcome anything. I thought that I just needed to work harder and put more money into the business. I struggled for a couple more years with my partners. The more pressure I felt to save the business, the more I neglected praying and listening for the divine voice. I didn't even need any motivational tapes or books, because my blind motivation was driven by desperation. My determination to succeed and save the company was just about as strong as God's determination for me to change occupations. But it wasn't until every possible door was closed that I realized there is a will that is stronger and wiser than my will, which I must be in harmony with, the divine will. After closing the company, by chance I came across that profound passage, Human beings practice motivation blind. Ly. If I had found this passage earlier, I might have saved myself much heartache. On the other hand, if I had read this before my devastating experience, I wouldn't have recognized the depth of its wisdom. Summary of key points. 1. Work, the fondest human expression. When you work, you fulfill a part of Earth's fondest dream assigned to you when that dream is born. 2. Provide for yourself and others. 3. Your work is where your spiritual unfoldment takes place. Through work, we encounter people and events that mirror our spiritual state. 4. Work, the greatest teacher. The purpose of labor is to learn. When you know it, the labor is over. The apple blossom exists to create fruit. When that comes, the petals fall. 5. Work does not need you, you need work. 6. Through work, destiny unfolds. Your work is to discover your work and then with all your heart to give yourself to it. 7. Life evolves through actions. The bottom line is, as long as you possess a body, you cannot escape work. 8. Adopt the farmer's virtue. The time for planting and the time for harvesting does not wait. If you procrastinate and miss the planting season, you will have no crop for the whole year. The farmer's rich harvest is dependent on his timely dedication to his work. He does not have to read motivational books to overcome his inertia. 9. The working secret of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Flow with the divine grace. Mozart did not study or aim at any originality. 10. Using intuition as a business tool. Intuition is a commodity that is extremely undervalued in the Western world. Yet, everyone who has ever succeeded in any extraordinary task has always drawn upon this power. To put it simply, intuition is your gut feeling. A well-developed intuition is a bankable commodity, and the source of this intuition is the same that provided inspiration for Mozart's composition. 11. Work in the light of grace. Grace is like sunshine. It indiscriminately showers light on all. In the same manner, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart learned how to listen to the music from his divine maker. Such creativity comes not through man's effort alone, but is a gift of your own soul, the divine grace. 12. Discover your natural rhythm. With our Creator's infinite imagination, the world never ceases to provide us with wonders. Each one of us is unique. What works for one does not necessarily work for others. 13. Reach for your limitless limit. A timber fit for pillars should not be misused for some small task. If you are capable, then stop selling yourself short by limiting your imagination. 14. 3 principles of work: purpose, perseverance, and patience. 15. Work, the highest worship and highest sacrifice. You perform the sacrifice of doing your duty, you do not have to do anything else. Devoted to duty, man attains perfection. 16. The harmony of divine will and human will. Being attuned to the divine will is the most important factor in attracting success. To discover through the right meditation how to be in harmony with the divine will is man's highest obligation.